As I mentioned, I was raised by a single mom. Even though she was a medical doctor, salary is not as the same as in the US, definitely. If I have to convert, per month, it could be 200 or 100 US dollar. It's not the same. So she really saved, I want to say, at least 10 years of her life for me to be in the US for one semester. So the money that she saved, which was, I put it on my memoir, 15,000 US dollar. It was done by the first semester. At the end of the semester, I didn't have money. I was really in a situation where I was really struggling. How am I going to, pay for the tuition? I don't have the money and I cannot count on my mom anymore. So I started looking for a job. I started from the bottom. I share about that, working in a fast food in Virginia. I started really from the bottom, making $5, the minimum wage that you can make per hour. And I was living from the tips of what the customer were giving. And I told myself that I'm going to succeed. I'm going to succeed.
Hi, my name is Imade. Welcome to the channel. This is We Made It in America. Here we talk to immigrants who come from all over the world and build incredible success here in the United States. If you want to join, please subscribe, like, comment, share, and just be part of the conversation. Let's dive in. Our guest on the episode is Dr. Marie-Ange Tagne'S. Marie-Ange was born in Cameroon and she's a distinguished product executive with a career spanning over 2 decades as a product leader and a director of product management at a lot of the top companies in technology in the world. Companies like Yahoo, Roku, Intel, IBM, Amazon, Meta, and she attended Virginia Union University in the United States, where she graduated as the valedictorian in her class. Then she went on to get her PhD from the University of California, Berkeley on a full scholarship. She's been a mentor of TechWomen since 2011, which is an initiative of the US Department of State for STEM education for women. She recently brought out a memoir, which is a collection of her experiences, and it's titled For Such a Time as This, From Humble Roots in Africa to Silicon Valley Leadership. Thank you so much, Marie-Ange, for being here with us.
Well, thank you so much, Imade, for inviting me to your podcast.
So I want to start at the very beginning of your journey. You were born in Yaoundé in Cameroon, Central Africa. As a child, you were always passionate about reading, about science, about mathematics, and you were raised by your mother. What was that experience like growing up at that time in Cameroon?
Like you mentioned, I shared it in the first 3 chapters of my book, my memoir. Being raised by a single mom, my parents divorced when I was very young. And in that time in Cameroon, divorce was not very common. As far as I remember, the only kid in my elementary school who was raised in a divorced home. And my mom, as a single mom, as a trailblazer on her own way, as a medical doctor, she was working. I remember in the emergency room, taking us to the hospital. I have some of this experience because she didn't have anybody to take care of us. Me seeing that as a role model, and still in me very young, some value of just hard work, discipline, and she always also put in me and my sister that we can become whatever we can become in a culture that was not very open to girls dreaming. I have an experience in one of the chapter where I talk about my auntie asking me, what do I want to do when I grow up? And I tell her I want to be the first woman going to the moon. And she was like, oh, girls don't do that, right? We get married, you have a lot of kids. By the time you become an astronaut, you will have studied so much and no man will want to marry you. That was kind of the African culture I was raised up. And I was that girl that say, why not? Why not, right? I want to discover the world. I want to be able to make a difference. So really challenging the status quo, really being brave and dreaming big. And that came from my mom, because my mom, very young, she really instilled and pressed in me and my sister that we can do whatever we want to do. So that ability to dream big, discipline, resilience. I also saw a woman, right, as a trailblazer in her own way. There are not many women, professional or doctor at her time. I saw the resilience. I saw the determination that she can be a professional woman. So that also was something that I think she transferred to me, because in my journey, my life coming to the US, where it was really hard financially, a lot of rejection. You have to really believe you can achieve something at Berkeley. But the resilience of my mom always came back. My passion for science, technology, engineering, mathematics started from Cameroon, where I chose scientific field very young. In Cameroon, it was the French educational system. You actually have to pick a major when you are young.
Mm.
Pick mathematics. And in all my math class, I was the only girl, starting at 15, right? 15,
Wow.
16, 17, I was the only girl. It was also like, how do you define success? How do you find your own place in a ball-dominated environment, which I still face now in Silicon Valley, in many of the place I am as the only woman or as the only Black woman. It started when I was very young. And I was good in science, excelling in mathematics and excelling in physics. That helped to really define my own path, that as a girl, you can be good in this field. That's why I'm so passionate today to encourage, empower other young girls in STEM field.
At the age of 19, you came to the United States. You came to study mathematics at Virginia Union University. You graduated after 2 years instead of the normal 4-year route. So on paper, it looks like your academic journey was perfect. You were the best in the class. You graduated ahead of everybody. But did you also have any challenges that people don't really know about that you may not see on somebody's LinkedIn profile?
Definitely, yes, yes. A lot of challenge. I will share a few of those that I'm also sharing in my memoir, my time at Virginia Union University. The first challenge were definitely cultural, just adjusting to the culture, right? You come as a new international student from Africa. You have to adjust to I talk about the food, totally different, which is stuff that if you're an immigrant, you will
Yes.
understand, you will appreciate. Even the value of my personal space in Cameroon and many of the African cultures, like a community, you don't have the concept of personal space. And in the US, it was like, this is my space, this is me, like that kind of, yeah.
Yes.
I also share about the cultural difference in terms of how you perceive authority, right? Many of the African culture, authority is you don't call somebody by their first name. Like when I had somebody older than me, it's always auntie, uncle. In America, in my school, you can call your teacher by your first name. I also share about difference in term, the challenge in terms of financially. Again, as I mentioned, I was raised by a single mom. Even though she was a medical doctor, the salary is not as the same as in the US, definitely. Right?
Yeah.
A medical doctor, if I have to convert, per month it could be 200 or 100 US dollar. It's not the same. So she really saved, I want to say, at least 10 years of her life for me to be in the US for
Wow.
one semester. For one semester. So the money that she saved, which was, I put it on my memoir, 15,000 US dollar. It was done by the first semester. So at the end of the semester, I didn't have money. I was really in a situation where I was really struggling. How am I going to finish these studies? How am I going to, pay for the tuition? I don't have the money and I cannot count on my mom anymore. She just doesn't have the money anymore. So I
Yeah.
started looking for a job. I started from the bottom. I share about that, working in a fast food in Virginia. I
Oh.
am proud of that. I started really from the bottom, making $5 the minimum wage that you can make per hour. And I was living from the tips of what the customer were giving. And I told myself that I'm going to succeed. I'm going to succeed. One of my professors, she realized that I'm really bright. I was doing so well in school. So yes, I applied to research experience for undergrad student, which is a program that if you are an undergrad, you can apply for the summer to do research in top institution. I went to Princeton and UCSD, University of California, San Diego, but I was not eligible initially. I was an international student. This program is sponsored by the National Science Foundation. So I got rejected after rejected after rejected. Even though you have a good GPA, you are working so hard, but you get rejected because of your national statute. Eventually, there was a breakthrough after one student dropped out of one of the program. UCSD, University of California, San Diego called me and said, we have a spot for you. That's how I was able to get my first REU. And the next year I was able to get the next REU because I demonstrate, right, that I can do research. I'm good enough. I got a letter of recommendation from that one. But so that story I was talking about, pressing through rejection. And finally, you talk about graduating for a 4 years program in 2 years. I asked a special authorization to my dean of academic affairs that the maximum unit that you could take as an undergrad was 18. Ask permission. I want to take 26, 28 unit because I was trying to shrink a 4 years program to 2 years or even less to reduce the tuition, because The more every year that you are there, you have to pay in the
That's
first
true. That's true.
don't have that money. Who is going to pay for
Yeah.
that? So I was trying to take as many units as possible to be able to finish so that I don't have to struggle about the money. When I went to his office, I had that conversation to ask Dr. Handel. I still remember the conversation in my head. It was like, you can't do this. Nobody has ever done that. You're going to kill yourself. I said, please, please, super please. I'm going to do my best. If my grades fall off, we stop this. Next semester, I'm not doing this anymore. He was not convinced. Eventually, signed up the paper. And guess what? That semester, I was working like a dog. I was working in the evening, studying,
Ah,
just going to classes the whole day, academic work, and in the evening, going to fast food to work. I was still able to maintain a 4.0 GPA.
wow. Wow.
I was able to take a 4 years degree in a 2 years. You dream big, you have to have dream, but you put the work to your dream. Yes, I didn't have a life. And when I look at some young people, my daughter today, I want her to have better. I mean, I didn't have a life that have fun. I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
And was it a regret? Maybe yes, but that's what I needed to do to be
Yeah.
able to survive in the US as a new international student and just make it through financially. And the story of that is because my school saw my determination, my academic excellence for the last 1.5 years, they were able to cover the tuition. So the $5 per hour I was making to work in a fast food was just for my living expenses. But the tuition, I got a academic scholarship that was able to pay for my tuition because of my determination and the grades.
Yeah. And then at the age of 22, you started at UC Berkeley, went straight into a PhD after bachelor's degree. It was good because they gave you the full financial A plus. I think they also give you a stipend, living expenses, and so no more financial stress.
So Berkeley was the number 2, number 3 program in electrical engineer computer science for PhD. And it's still among the top 2 and 3. Usually it's MIT, Stanford University, and Berkeley. And I'm somebody who is a dreamer. My book is all about dreaming and putting the work in that. When I say dream, I just don't mean dream. Say dream, put the work into that. I wanted to be among the best. I really wanted to be among the best, to learn from the best. So I shoot for the moon. I shoot for the best program. So I apply for MIT, Berkeley, and Stanford for my PhD. Of course, I did apply for some of the other mid-tier universities. So if I don't get in for any reason, at least I have some backup, right? I was able to get a yes from UC Berkeley, who said, we're going to give you a full ride. I wanted to go to the best school to have the best possible opportunity in the future.
Yeah. What was the experience at your PhD at the doctoral level? What was that like for you?
It was amazing. Berkeley is still home. I go back often to mentor, to give talk, to give back. But what I want to share is the reality of imposter syndrome. It's real. It's very real. I get to talk to many women in STEM, many minority who feel like they are the only one, that feel like I don't belong. I felt that way very, very strong at Berkeley. Again, you are surrounded by the best of the best in the whole world. People from China, from Korea, from India, from Iran, and Germany, Russia, and they were the best in their field, in their area, in computers, and many of them started coding when they were a kid. I didn't have a computer in Cameroon. Many of them even started company, right? Many of our professors are Nobel Prize in their area. My advisor, my co-advisor, started MEMS, the research area I was part of, micro electromechanical system. He's the founder of the area. So these are the best professors that you can sit to learn from. So the imposter syndrome was real. How come a little girl from Cameroon, many people didn't even know where Cameroon was from. Many people couldn't pronounce my name, Marie-Ange. Many people never sat down with a black woman. What am I doing here? You start doubting yourself, and the classes were heavy. They were intense. Sometimes I was like, wow, I'm not sure if I understand what he's talking about. I have no clue. So what do you do at that moment? Do you shrink? Do you give up? I almost actually gave up because I talk about failing my qualifying exam, which is the a oral exam that makes you officially a PhD student. Oral, 3 professors, they can ask you anything. The sky is the limit. I failed it for the first time. When you fail the second time, you are kicked out of the program. That was the first time in my life I faced study so hard, work so hard, and I failed the exam. I don't belong. How can I get a PhD with all these smart people? I thought I was good. I was the valedictorian, but yeah, I'm really not that good. I give a lot of credit to my advisor, Suje King Liu. She is now the dean of the College of Engineering at Berkeley, and I think she's stepping down for another role but she sat me down. She said, Marie-Ange, I believe in you. And that gave me the strength for the second year to go back to the blackboard, start again to study, practice, and I even work with her, other students, to take again the qualifying exam, and I passed the second time. If you are the only one in the room, you kind of have to figure out how to manage. It's going to be there. It's going to be there, but you have to believe in yourself that you belong to the table. If you are there, you belong to the table, and figure out what works for you, because what works for somebody else doesn't work for you, to be able to overcome that imposter syndrome.
During your PhD, you interned at Intel in Santa Clara. Then you got the return offer to come back after your studies. You started at Intel. And then since then, you just kept rising and rising through these different companies. At Intel, you were one of the first PMs to work on Netbook. You've gone through as a product leader at Amazon, where you worked on streaming. At Yahoo, you worked on community. With Meta, you worked on trust and safety, and you led these different areas. Roku too, and you just kept climbing that ladder. A lot of people have those aspirations and ambitions to have a career like yours. How are you able to just, from different companies, not just in one place, but just build that track record in different companies across different roles and fields to work your way up, especially because people feel like when you leave a PhD, you should work in academia, or you may not really want to work as a practitioner. So how are you able to balance all these different feelings and just keep working for decades and keep growing?
I love that question. What does it look like, right, to maneuver, figure out your way in corporate America? For me, it's not about climbing the ladder. It's not. For me, it's like what impact, learning opportunities, and impact you can have in all that. That's the way I'm thinking about my career now. And I don't even think my career has been vertical. Sometimes I take some U-turn, left and right, to eventually where you are. Oh my goodness, I've done all these different, have all these different experience. The goal was not to kind of climb up. I've built a CV where now I can look back and give back and inspire. For me, the first ingredient is curiosity. I share a lot about curiosity in my book, and as well when I was even young. I was that little girl who asked why of everything. Is always thinking, I don't know enough, and I can always learn, and I can always change the status quo. You talk about, I came from an academic background, and I get that question often too, and I moved to product, which seems to be like a different part. Many of the people who have PhD, they become academician, they become professor. When I finished my PhD, by the way, I was hired at Intel in a program called the Rotation Engineer Program, where you get to do different role the first year. I did strategic planning. I did Intel Capital, which is like investing. I did product management. That was the netbook you talk about. And I did one pure technical, which was RAM device, testing device in the lab. And at the end of the rotation program, my manager at the time, Irv Thomas, I talked about it in my book, told me, Marie, you are somebody who see the big picture. I'm a big picture person. You have a technical background expertise, but you want to be able to think about how does he make a difference in the life of everyday Joe who might not understand the technical implication. I was trying to decide, what do I do after my rotation? Do I stay in my specific niche of technical expertise, or I take it somewhere else where I can build product? And it was a tough decision, to be honest, because I spent 6 years like really becoming a researcher. But what I discovered, that I can take that technical expertise, but be able to drive impact. So the second thing I want to talk about, number 2, is impact. Right? I'm somebody who like to see how the product or the technology, whatever I do, actually does have an impact. So all the role I've taken, I can put in, this is what my work does in terms of impacting, and not impacting just in terms of subjective, but day-to-day people, you and I, that you can say, Marie-Ange built technology at Amazon. Then today when I use Fire TV. It's because of her technology that I feel like I have a better experience. Same thing when I work at Yahoo Community, the commenting SDK that people use every day. So that's another thing so first, curiosity, I talk about curiosity. The second thing is impact. How do I make sure that I do have an impact in the life of people? And the third thing is I like to solve problems. I'm a problem solver. And as a scientist, if you've done science research, what you actually being taught, your brain is being developed to solve problem. So that if they throw any problem at you, I'm not scared. I can think. I can use my brain. And that's actually what my career has shown me. You can throw me an ambiguous problem. And because I know that I can think, know I have the foundation to think and to make some hypotheses. I'm able to come up what should be the strategy, what are the customer needs. That's now product management. We think about strategy, customer need, what product will meet the needs. How do we validate that is actually meeting the need? How does it tie to the business value? At the end of the day, it comes down to solving problem. So yeah, the three ingredients: curiosity, impact, and problem solving. These are the ingredients that I can say that have helped me to be able to navigate and jump into so many different areas and actually make a difference in technology.
Because of the span of your career and the influence that you've had in these different companies, you've been able to be at the forefront of different changes in the industry as things have changed so much from the time you started to now, from the internet boom, 2000s, Web 2.0, 3.0. Now the conversation is mainly about artificial intelligence. But all these different trends, how have you been able to continue to stay relevant, keep up with everything, and just navigate all these changes?
Beautiful question. Again, comes down for me, curiosity. I am somebody who read a lot. I read a lot. I keep myself educated about what is going on. I keep myself surrounded by people, leaders, mentor, coach. I just had a meeting with a coach right now who is giving me some good feedback. I helped to build the netbook. I was not the only one. We were like 3 people in the lab building that. Yeah, the whole category. It was ambiguous. It was a new thing. I saw that revolution coming up. After netbook, there was the whole mobile. Actually, I was at Intel at the time. We missed the whole mobile revolution. That was a miss. I learned also from failure. How do we make sure we are always on the forefront? Then there was the whole cloud. Everything needs to be in the cloud. SaaS, software as a service. What is going on in the market? And how can I be part of that revolution? Eventually, after cloud, AI. AI is the new name of the game. Every day, I'm telling you, I am either reading, I'm part of different network. What is happening? What is the latest product? I'm testing a lot of product now. I'm actually building an AI agent myself.
Oh, nice.
I want to make sure that I can speak the language and I can have my own contribution in the field of AI. You don't have to learn by yourself. I'm part of I'm in San Francisco Bay Area. So there are different community, different events that I can join to continue to learn with other people. So that's what has helped me to stay up to date and continue to build, continue to refine my craft.
Just want to talk about your memoir a bit, which is what made you feel like this is now the right time to write your memoir, reflect on your experiences, and what was it like for you in your own process of writing, reflecting on your life so far. A lot of people don't get that opportunity. We just have to keep moving from one thing to the next thing, but you get to have the privilege of reflecting and connecting your past, present, future. What was that like for you, and what made you decide that now is the right time to do it?
I've shared part of my journey for different audience. Some people were focused being, what does it look like to be the only woman in the room, the only minority in the room? Some people were more focused as an immigrant coming from Africa. So there are different layers. What was my experience like? I'm a person of faith. I'm very bullish about my faith in Christ. What does it look like to be a person of faith in technology, where sometimes some people think that faith is opposite, antagonist to building great product? The audience really resonated. They were like, my goodness, you are speaking my language. Oh my goodness, I didn't know that. People like you, I didn't know your story is so amazing. You need to write the book. That started from all this event. It was, a couple of years ago, and it was like, really? I thought that everybody has a story. I thought my story is just one story among billion of people. And I didn't think too much of that. But when you hear people giving you feedback, Marie-Ange, there's something here. I want more. I cannot scale myself talking to, and I mentor a lot of people. I cannot scale myself in 10,000 podcasts.
Yes.
The best I can do, let me write it down. I've been in the US for 26 years.
Wow.
I've been working for the 19 years of the 26 years. I never took a break. Never. It was like from undergrad, poor undergrad student, making through, getting admitted to Berkeley, just going as hard as I can and working as hard as I can to finish my PhD in 5, 6 years, which actually is not many people take more time. And then job after job, opportunity after opportunity. And they're all fun. I grew a lot, learned a lot, contributed, built great product. So I never had the privilege or the opportunity to sit down and reflect. In this season, I was like, let me do that. Let me sit down, take my pen, reflect. What did I learn? What were the last 19 years, 26 years like? What are the lessons? I have a daughter, I have a son. What do I want to teach them? If mommy is not there tomorrow, what do I want them to remember about mom? I start thinking about legacy. I'm still young. I still plan to live as God will. But when the day is over, we all gonna go somewhere, home somewhere. What do I want to be remembered for? So that was the process. Just sitting down and writing. You were asking the question, what was the process like? It was almost like you are writing a big journal of your past, of lesson learned, of what you want to give to your kids, other people to think about you. This is how this book came this time. And so many things happened, but I couldn't share everything. Which one do I want to select and why? The why. What do I want to remember from this story? And then from now having a book on Amazon, I thank God. I thank God. So that was the process. It was very therapeutic. It was a beautiful journey.
Amazing. So we'll leave a link in the description box for people who want to check out the memoir. It's a very gripping one about your story. A lot of things, it goes deeper into a lot of things that she has said here, but also new things and new experiences, and especially people who are just coming to the US or who aspire to succeed the way she has in her career. It's very eye-opening to read directly from the source what her life has been like and how you too can make it on your own too. So your mom last year, she turned 70 years old. So just knowing what you said about how she went through a lot, she saved for so long to get you to the US, and then seeing you now as very accomplished in the US and your sister in Germany. What was that experience like? Like, what was that moment for you and your family like?
It was a beautiful time. I think you are mentioning about chapter 14. That's the last chapter of the book where I'm talking about the 70th birthday of my mom. My sister and I, we actually planned it for a year. We're like, okay, this is a big event. It's a blessing to have your parent many people don't get to 70, right? It's really a blessing. What do we want to do? Initially, we're thinking about meeting in California at my place and having everybody come to like a big party, but I was not sure because our house was being remodeled. So maybe that will not be practical. So finally, say, let's meet in New York, right? The Big Apple. And let's start the day. The way we started, we were three girls, my sister, myself, and my mom. Let's treat her. We pay for everything, for the ticket, for the airfare, the hotel, all the experience, and just let's have fun. That was the kind of the thinking that went through that. Just the three of us, the way it started. My daughter was interested. She wanted to celebrate her grandma. So we met in New York City. We had wonderful time, fun time, visiting all the iconic, the Statue of Liberty, Times Square, you name them. And I finished my book where we went to Harlem. Many people don't think Harlem as an iconic place or a tourist destination. It's the African American center of New York City. And there's also a lot of African people of African descent actually have a public market. It reminded me the market in Yaoundé where people are selling on the street. It really reminded me, took me back home. We went to a West African food, a Ivorian Coast, where we ate some of the dishes from Africa, egosi stew.
Yes,
And I
yes, yes.
finished my book there, seated at the restaurant and reflecting that I started as a young girl, ambitious, curious girl in Cameroon, in a place where I was eating the same food with my mom and my sister. And I just had a dream. I had a dream that I want to come to America maybe one day, and I didn't have anybody in America. I want to make a difference in the world. I want to build things that will make life of people better. I want to inspire. I want to leave the world a better place than the way I found it. And now looking back after 40 years. I'm right here seated in this restaurant in a place that looks a little bit like home, food that African food. With my mom and my sister, now my daughter, the words of my mom have come full circle as she handed me the baton and she told me, Marie-Ange, you can do whatever you want to do. The sky is the limit. She believed in me. She put her money, she put her love, her passion for me to be where I am. Now I'm handing the baton to my daughter, Zoe, who is right there, the next generation. And I'm speaking into her life, Zoe, you can do whatever you want to do. The sky is the limit. Don't allow anybody to tell you that girls can't do this. Don't allow your own limitation, your imposter syndrome to tell you that you cannot do this. And I'm speaking now to everybody that we can all live a life of purpose. My story is not just, it's maybe my story, but you have your own. Each one of you reading this book, you have your own story. You have your own voice, and I want your voice to be heard. I want you to know that your life too can have an impact that will last for generation and generation. So that's how I finish my book. For such a time like this, we not only Marie-Ange, not only Zoe, we can all leave the world a better place than we found it.
You talked about coming to America to make your dreams come true. So to you, what is the American dream? When you hear, when there's a lot of talk about, oh, the American dream, I want to come to America to fulfill the American dream. What does that mean to you?
What does that mean to me? And from my personal experience, I think it's a country, America has been a country that has welcomed immigrants, has welcomed the possibility that if you work hard, you can achieve. The sky is the limit. It doesn't matter wherever you are in the world. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter if you are disabled, not disabled. It doesn't matter who you are. There is opportunity in America. If you work hard, it doesn't come to you. My book shows you that it didn't come to me. Nothing was handed to me. As I share my experience at Union undergrad, Berkeley, I had night. I didn't sleep. I work like a dog. But I believe in that. Many people will help me in the journey, but I could achieve the dream I had, which is not true, to be honest. I live in a developing country, many parts of the world. It's not true. If you are coming from outside of the world, we have to recognize that this country has been so open to help other people to achieve and to make a difference. And you can name many of the company today that we love the product. Google, if you leave the origin, the founder, they are from a different part of the world.
Yes.
Tesla from a different part of the world, right? You start looking at, the innovation, technology. You will see that many of the innovation come from people who came to America and just could launch company that impact the life of people around the world. So that's what I mean by the American dream.
Beautiful. And I agree with you 100%. It's not possible in a lot of places, a lot of countries for most people to really achieve their dreams the way that they can in the US and the way that you have. So it's very beautiful that you put it that way. And it's not just about coming here and sitting down. You have to work and nothing comes to you just for being here. Like you said, people work and they dream, but they also work. Like you in your life, you dreamed big, but you also worked hard. So thank you for sharing. And last question, what is your final advice for young people? So you have two wonderful kids. If there's only one lesson you could pass to them and pass to young people, what would be that one lesson?
Thank you. I have quote from people, and one of the quote I want to leave with the audience that I will say to my kids is in chapter 14. That's the last chapter of the book. It's actually by Mark Twain. I don't know him, but I found his quote. He say, the two most important days in your life are the day where you are born and the day you find out why you were born. Let me repeat. The two most important days in your life are, one, the day you are born. Two, the day you find out why you were born. When you are born, you don't know. You are still a baby. It's people around you will celebrate. We're excited. We have a new baby in the family. This person is going to probably do great things. We do, in America, they do a gift and baby shower. In Africa, I remember some of the culture. The naming ceremony in Nigeria is very important. You name, you bless the kids. It's going to become this and this, like you're excited. That's a wonderful day. But I want to focus on the day where you find out why you were born. And that's what my book is about. For such a time like this, you've been called. for such a time like this, you can rise and make a difference. I'm talking about purpose. We all have a purpose in this world. The day where you find out what is your purpose, that's an amazing day. And that's what I want each of young people, adult. Do you know why you were born? You have a unique identity. You are unique skill set, your unique experience, what you've been through, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything is crafted to leave a positive, I clarify, positive impact to this world. So I want to encourage you, find out what is your purpose, what is my legacy, what is the impact I want to leave in the world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Marie-Ange, for being here. And you've spoken to my soul, and your book is going to speak to so many people, especially young people, adults, people who see themselves in you, who want to find out what their purpose is, and maybe your life can also provide inspiration for them too. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. I'm humble for your invitation, and thank you so much. I hope this is inspiring and a blessing to many people.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found that helpful and inspiring. Don't forget to check out the links below. Like, subscribe, share with anyone else you think would find this helpful. And yeah, see you in the next episode. Bye.